We're about to meet a young couple who spent a year riding across New Zealand on horseback to raise thousands for Canteen. It's a love story on 8 legs, and you can read about it in a new book, Down, Across and Up. Genevieve and Kieran Revel join us now. Guys, welcome to Good Morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Hey, listen, before we sort of move into the book, let's talk about how you guys met, and because it was 2 years before you decided to sort of head off on this big trip on your horses. How did you guys meet?
We actually met through work, and straight away I suggested the idea to Kieran, but I'd only come up with the idea of just going around the South Island, and that was about it. And it was kind of a joke as well. I didn't think he'd take me seriously.
Right.
I didn't realise it was a joke at the time. I only found out about halfway around the country, I think. So it might have been a bit different.
I think he's just trying to impress me.
Well, that was interesting, because when I was reading the notes, I was thinking, gee, he's quite keen. Kieran was like, OK, the first time you met, it was like, OK, yeah, I'll do it. But you've never ridden a horse before in your life, have you, Kieran?
No, not at all. I think I was just lost in her eyes, and I was probably going to agree to anything at that point. Yeah, before I knew it, I was on the back of a horse and hurtling through a forest. So
I know. Tell us.
Sorry.
So tell us about that that first trip on the horse, because she didn't make it easy, did she?
No, not at all. There were quite a few things that happened. First of all, I thought I was getting on this nice little timid-looking horse, and then she just laughed and guided me over to a much scarier-looking horse, or what I thought was a much scarier horse. And
I just sent him down a little bit of a hill, that's all.
I heard it was more than a hill, Genevieve. I heard it was more than a hill.
It was a cliff. It was almost like 90 degrees, you know, and she said, you know, we're going down here and everyone goes down here, so you have to come down with me. And, of course, I'm trying to impress her.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, well, if everyone goes down there, I've got to go down there. So I sent Jenna down first, and I came down sort of just about a minute later after I'd got my confidence up. And I felt like I was the man from the Snowy River, you know, just I was leaning back so far.
Yeah.
And I got to the bottom and Jenna was laughing, and I thought, well, I must have done something really good here. And she said, I can't believe you went down there. And I said, oh, neither can I. And it turns out that was because no one's ever been down there with her. Everyone's always refused.
Oh, really?
In fact, most people refuse to go riding with Jenna because she just does crazy things.
That was your test, because not long after that, you guys got married.
That's right. Yeah.
So and the horse trip became a honeymoon in a way.
Right.
And we were also raising money for Canteen. So, yeah, it was really worthwhile. And it kept us motivated to be fundraising like that. And we ended up raising $33,000 for them.
Wow.
So,
hey, let's talk about the trip, because you met some characters along the way. But I want to talk about the start of it, because you pretty much sort of started off this trip, and it went from bad to worse really early on.
yeah, you could say that. We started at Cape Reinga and headed away from the lighthouse and hit 90 Mile Beach, and we ended up getting lost in the middle of the beach, which sounds pretty ridiculous since it's a beach, but it's quite a long beach, we found out.
And it's quite isolated as well, so there was no one we could just, you know, go and knock on their door and say, hey, we're lost, where are we? So
well, because
and there's no reception.
your support crew left you. That was the story, wasn't it? Your support crew left you, and you thought you'd keep walking, and you kept walking, and it got later and later, and you thought to yourself, well, we need to turn around, and you ended up heading back home and finding out that these guys were asleep in a tent.
Yeah, it was quite funny, because we didn't know where they were and they didn't know where we were, and they ended up just going to bed, which, you know, was pretty funny. We laughed about it the next day, but yeah, we were a bit bewildered and just wandering around in the dark for a few hours, and in the end, yeah, we had to head all the way back to where we'd come from, so it wasn't really that bad. It was just a really funny start to the trip.
It was the horses that saved us as well, because we kept trying to turn off the beach, and our horses just, they wouldn't go that way. And so in the end, we just basically let them lead us all the way back, which was quite incredible, really.
It must have been hard, Kieran, because the horse that you sort of did a lot of your training on ended up leaving partway through the trip, or early on in the trip, and you ended up getting another horse, which Genevieve found in Tauranga, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so how tough was that to try and get up on another horse when you had so much confidence with the other one?
It was really difficult, because, yeah, I'd only ever ridden Charlie at that point, so to trust another horse, it was quite a big thing. And then when we were actually looking for another horse, I actually got bucked off and I broke a finger and cracked 4
Yeah.
ribs. So that dented my confidence quite a bit. But it wasn't the horse's fault, you know. It was just one of those things that happened, and it made another interesting story for the trek and for the book. But yeah, it was quite difficult for a little while.
Tell us about some of the people that you met along the way, because I imagine you met some amazing people. You know, like that guy Uncle that you met up north. I'm sure there were a lot of other people that you met along the way, and you know, how they helped you to sort of get through what you were doing.
It was just amazing. We had no idea how generous Kiwis really are. I mean, we needed a place to stay every night with the horses, and the horses needed somewhere to graze. And yeah, people were just offering us places. We never went and slept in our tents. Well, we slept a few times in our tents, but yeah, the plan was to rough it, and people wouldn't let us rough it. They'd take us into their houses and give us big farm meals, and pretty much every time something went wrong, there was someone there right away to help, like, because we needed farriers and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, people would just show up on the road and be like, hey, we heard about you, you know, do you need a hand? And it's just so crazy and so amazing. And we had people joining us on horses and farm bikes. And
they'd just appear out of the bush and say, hey, come this way, it's a shortcut. And we're thinking, well, who are you and how do you know who we are? But, you know, just the amount of support we had, and we didn't really encounter anyone that was bad. I remember one day we were riding down the road and there was this big burly guy standing there with his arms crossed, and he looked like quite a foreboding kind of character, and we were thinking, oh, what are we going to say when we get up to him? He's obviously annoyed that we're riding down his road. And when we got to him, he just all of a sudden had this massive grin on his face, and he just welcomed us with open arms, and we just had that everywhere we went. It was just incredible.
It was incredible.
Well, you guys have done a fantastic job. Raising $33,000 for charity is amazing. And you also filmed it. Are you going to make that into a documentary?
Yeah, that'll be out on DVD in September sometime.
Right. Hey, well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a great read. People should get out and read it. Will you do it again? That's my next question.
Well, it's funny you asked that, because Kieran has come up with an idea that's equally as crazy, and he actually came up with it while we were on our trip, but he wouldn't tell me for 8 months, so he let me sweat it out.
All right.
I thought that was only fair. And yeah, we're going to go across Australia on camels.
Wow. Hey, well, good luck with that.
Desert.
Good luck with that, and thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks heaps.